about my favorite indie book of all of 2019. What's up, my fellow small business supporters? I'm Savvy. Today I'm going to be doing a book review for a book that I absolutely loved so much. When I say it's my favorite indie book of all of 2019, that's not to say that 2019's over yet and like I can't predict the future and know what I'm going to read, but basically I'm just going to talk about how I love this book so much. Before I get into the book, if you are new to this channel, please remember to click the subscribe button because every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I have new videos related to books and writing coming out and you won't want to miss them. As an indie author myself and a lover of the AuthorTube community, I am so excited to get to review a book written by a fellow AuthorTuber, and I love reading books written by people that I've gotten to know on YouTube because it makes me feel like we have like a connection. Maybe that's weird, but it makes me feel like, you know, we comment on each other's videos, we get to know each other, we become like AuthorTube friends, and then reading your book is like that much more fun. So if you recently saw the video that I did that was my AuthorTuber book haul where I just showed off all of the books that I got that were written by fellow AuthorTubers, this book was mentioned in there. Reading AuthorTuber books so far has been an amazing experience based on what I'm about to say now and based on the review that I did of Duet Rubato by Clara Kavanaugh, which I will link up in the cards. But so far, my impression of AuthorTuber books is very, very high, so I am honored to be a part of it. Y'all create great books. Today, I am going to be reviewing The Laws of Founding by Nicole McKeon. I'm pretty sure I pronounced your name right that time. Let me know in the comments if I got it wrong. But The Laws of Founding is book 1 in the series The Eververse Chronicles. So since it's book 1, that means we're getting a book 2. Book 2 is coming out very soon. I actually have the arc of book 2, so I get to read that for free, which makes me super, super, super excited. So I'm gonna read that. And I cannot wait to share my thoughts on that with you guys as well. Also, a quick shout out to Lauren Severe, who is another AuthorTuber who created hashtag LOF live tweet, which is LOF for Laws of Founding. And so on book Twitter, we were all tweeting about this book as we read it, and it was really fun to get to like talk to other people about the exciting things that were happening in this book as we were reading them, and I just got so excited. But she finished it way before I did, so I had to like not look at too much of her tweets for spoilers. Not that she really gave spoilers on Twitter, she wouldn't do that, but you know, you can't be too careful. Anyway, let's talk about this book. So, the premise of the Eververse Chronicles is that there are infinite parallel universes in the world, right? That like every decision you make results in a new universe based on whether or not that thing happened. You know, we can't just travel between these universes because the version of ourselves that we are is the version that results from the choice that we made in the universe we're in the universe where they did something else that's a different version of you and you have no connection to that. Unless you are a walker. So that's kind of the interesting twist in this book, which is that there is this special type of human, or like there's humans that have special powers. I don't think they're entirely human. They are called walkers. And if you're a walker, then you have the power to walk between different universes. And eventually, like, if you get powerful enough, you can walk to infinite universes, which have like infinite possibilities. So this book is kind of like a combination between like urban fantasy and like contemporary sci-fi. It like genre blends really, really well, which makes me so excited. But the premise of this book is that there's this girl, Allie, who has just discovered that she's capable of walking between different verses. And the way she discovers this is just by one morning she wakes up and she's in the wrong one, like she accidentally walked between universes when she's asleep. She has had instances in her past where she's accidentally walked between universes and didn't realize that that's what it was because she thought maybe she was just passing out or hallucinating or something. But she realizes she has this power. She finds this like group of other walkers that like take her in and try to teach her the ways. One of them is a super hot Irish guy named Ronan, and he is my new book boyfriend. Seriously, he's so hot. And I know that he's so hot not just from the book, but also because Nicole McKeon is a fabulous artist in addition to being an author, and she drew art of him, and I will post a picture on the screen of what that art looks like, but like, damn, right? But yeah, so it's like a budding romance between her and a very experienced walker while she's also trying to figure out like what's going on between verses. There seems to be someone after her because she keeps becoming the target of attacks between universes and has to like try to walk to get out of them. And it's just like so fascinating to figure out everything that's going on and to unravel the different layers of what's actually happening. I just had the best time reading this book. So let's talk about all the things I liked about it. If you couldn't tell, this is going to be 5 stars. I'm not really here to criticize anything. We're going to save all my criticisms for next week when I post my review of Girl Stop Apologizing. First thing I loved about this book, the world building. So, as many of you guys know, I really like to read contemporary, and that's because I have a difficult time immersing myself into a fantasy world like that, like right off the bat. Like if I tried to read like Lord of the Rings or something, I would just like, my mind would wander and I would struggle. I don't know why, I just like have the trouble knowing what tropes naturally belong in a certain world and which ones don't. Like I tried to play Dungeons and Dragons one time in high school, and my character that I made was a lesbian basketball player, and everyone was like, you can't have a lesbian basketball player in Dungeons and Dragons, and I was like, why not? It's fantasy, anything can happen, right? So basically, like, I just have a hard time with that. But this book did an excellent job slowly immersing me in that world. I found that I actually do like urban fantasy, and I do like contemporary sci-fi, and I like books where things start off feeling normal, but maybe something's off and you don't know what it is, and the character learns about it as you, the reader, learn about it. Then I start to learn what the rules are, I learn what's going on, I'm not just dropped right in the middle of something, and that's really good for me as a reader. I really like that. So I thought the world building in this was excellent, and I didn't have trouble understanding anything. I loved it. I loved finding out about this weird world along with Allie. I loved having things revealed to me and wondering what was going to happen next. Next thing I loved about it, the writing itself. Nicole is a fantastic writer. I'm blown away by how good like the prose itself is, in addition to the story being good. Not that that should be surprising, because like, you know, good authors for the most part do both, but you know, sometimes it seems like one kind of outweighs the other. In this case, I thought they were both really good. So this is when Allie's kind of explaining the different feelings of being in different universes. I knew on a very deep level that this was not my verse. It was almost the same way you can tell when some band covers a song, you know? It might sound like the original song, but there's always something that gives the game away. Whether it's the timing or the inflection of the singer's voice, subtle hints that you know it's not the original. At the same time, I did feel welcome in this new place. So that was a really interesting way to describe it, because that's such an abstract thing to convey, like the feeling of being in a different universe where things are similar but slightly different, and I thought having that comparison to a song was, first of all, really beautiful, but second, I think it really helped immerse the reader in what was going on. But what I also like is that not only is the prose really pretty, it also has a great sense of humor. So I am on page 226, beginning of chapter 27, where it opens with, "To say that the car ride was uncomfortable would be the kind of gross understatement that only British comedians can pull off." I love that, because that's so exact. Like, that tells you exactly how uncomfortable it is, and I thought that was really funny. Other than the world building and the writing itself, the third thing I absolutely loved about this book was the way that Nicole was able to merge multiple genres together. I love indie fiction because it has infinite possibilities. However, and this is no shade at anyone who like wants to write like hard sci-fi or general like genre romance or like thriller or mystery, like I love all types of books, if that's not clear already. But there is this possibility in the indie world where, since you can put any type of book out there in the world, you can take a risk. You can put so many different genres together. You don't have to write something that's categorized in one specific way, because you don't have like a specific agent you're trying to pitch it to. Like you can really do whatever you want. And I know that it's easier to sell in a lot of categories if you are in a specific category, if you are in something that people are searching for, and that's why it can be a little harder to get this off the ground. But I think Nicole took a fabulous risk with this, with doing something that was outside of the norm, that wasn't like high fantasy and wasn't just like hard sci-fi, but had like science elements within a world that had fantasy tropes. So like she breaks down how our atoms like can break down into like transferring between universes. There's like a whole scientific explanation for this, but there's also a lot of fantasy tropes. Like there's one universe where the headquarters is, where there's a giant castle and there are all these medieval figures who have been able to live for a long time due to this, and there's like sword fighting and that kind of training. So there's a ton of fantasy elements as well, but then there's a lot of contemporary elements. Like Allie is living in present day Seattle, and she is a college student, and she's dealing with stuff with her mom and her brother and her roommates and her friends. So like there's a whole contemporary grounded in reality element as well, and everything just blended together really seamlessly, and I never felt shocked. I was never like, whoa, where did that come from? No, this whole book I was able to follow it perfectly, and I think that this was just a beautiful example of how you can blend genres. You can try something new and you can make something beautiful out of it. That's what I was trying to do with Sculpt Yourself as well. Like, I've been worried that like I can't describe the genre, so maybe it won't sell as well. I have it categorized on Amazon in LGBT sci-fi, which is specific enough that I can rank on the list sometimes, so that's nice. But it's also, do I call it LGBT sci-fi? Do I call it contemporary, new adult romance, sci-fi, feminist, speculative? Because if I call it like new adult romance, that's gonna be like, oh, there's gonna be some chiseled shirtless guy on the cover, which like, no, this book is pretty much all women. And if I'm like, it's LGBT sci-fi, then people are gonna be like, gays in space. That's not exactly what it is either. I just like knowing that I have an author friend out there who also loves to blend genres and loves to take a risk and say, hey, I'm gonna write a book that's kind of weird and is not exactly like things that are out there, but it's the story that's in my heart, and I hope other people enjoy it. And yes, Nicole, I enjoyed this book so much. I am so excited to read book 2. That is on my TBR. For all of you out there who have read this, which I know some of my other AuthorTube and BookTube friends have, let me know if you liked this. Please leave me a comment below telling me your thoughts on this book. If you haven't read this, does this sound interesting? What are your thoughts on blending genres and on writing this kind of story? Let me know everything in the comments below. But before you go, don't forget, this coming Sunday, August 11th, I have my stuffed animals releasing for the Forever Home Friends. Right now they're available for pre-order on foreverhomefriends.com. If you pre-ordered through our Kickstarter, you should have already received your stuffed animal in the mail. If you haven't, let me know because there might have been an issue with something. But our stuffed animal line is releasing officially to everybody on August 11th, which is the second birthday of the Forever Home Friends. So this business is 2 years old. That is so amazing. I'm going to be talking a lot more about this in the upcoming days and in the upcoming weeks, so I'm so excited. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you guys again soon. In the meantime, though, don't forget to support small businesses. Happy reading!